Marriage is inherently sacred, a haven of peace that everyone longs to find. But life isn't always rosy, especially for major stars, where the spotlight often overshadows the darkest corners. Some marriage stories don't just fall apart, they pile up with chaos, pain, betrayal, and even wives who send their careers and lives into serious crisis. You won't believe what went down behind the closed doors of these 15 black male celebrities. They once had it all: money, fame, adoring fans. But then, they got tangled in turbulent marriages, where their wives not only betrayed them, but also brought them crashing down financially and emotionally. These are the tragic marriage stories that left Hollywood reeling. 15. Ray Charles, a 22-year marriage ended in betrayal that cost him both fortune and fame. Ray Charles wasn't just an icon of soul music, he was a legend who rewrote American music history with timeless hits like "I Got a Woman in Georgia on My Mind." With a voice like no other and a knack for blending jazz, blues, and gospel, he won over millions of fans worldwide. But behind the glamour lies a heartbreaking marriage story that spanned over 2 decades, a tale filled with lies, betrayal, and financial blows that cost him the fortune he'd worked so hard to build. Ray met Della Beatrice in the mid-1950s, just as the name Ray Charles started ringing out in the music world. They tied the knot in 1955, appearing outwardly like the perfect family. 3 sons came along. Ray toured the world, while Della managed life behind the scenes, but behind closed doors. Things were far from peaceful by the late 1960s. As Charles was caught up in relentless touring, a bombshell hit: Della was secretly involved with someone from his own crew. It wasn't just a rumor, insiders like Quincy Jones later confirmed it. From there, the marriage went into a tailspin. Conflicts, jealousy, arguments, all suppressed in silence for years, until neither could pretend anymore. But that wasn't the half of it. Della spent recklessly for years: designer clothes, lavish furniture, month-long vacations. Each bill piled onto Ray's shoulders, who was already untangling his career while grappling with a crumbling personal life. In 1977, the 22-year marriage ended in a divorce that bled Ray's finances dry. Della not only got custody of the kids, but walked away with roughly $1 million, a massive sum at the time, plus a sprawling Los Angeles home. Charles, already struggling through financial troubles in the 70s, was hit with a blow that knocked him down again. To this day, people are shocked that a woman who stayed quietly by his side for 20 years could strike so ruthlessly in the end. Ray eventually got back on his feet, continued his career, and earned respect for his talent. But what was lost could never be regained. His marriage to Della, supposed to be a safe harbor, became one of the darkest chapters of his life. 14. Sam Cooke, a brilliant life cut short by a string of tragedies, betrayals, and violence. Sam Cooke, one of soul music's greatest legends, pioneered bringing his silky voice from the church to the big stage, with classic hits like "You Send Me." He didn't just transform a genre, he paved the way for generations of black artists. But behind the dazzling lights, his personal life was a chaotic mess no one saw coming. In 1958, when Sam married Barbara Campbell, many thought it was the perfect ending to a love story straight out of his romantic songs. They wed in Chicago, with Sam's father officiating. One was a rising star, the other a young woman connected to the music scene. They had 3 kids, but behind the happy family portrait were deep cracks. As Sam's fame skyrocketed, he started to change. Endless tours, the glitz of showbiz, and rumors of bad habits began to swirl. Barbara didn't sit idly by. While Sam was alive, she was secretly involved with a local bartender. What seemed like mere gossip became undeniable when the guy showed up at Sam's funeral in December 1964, brazenly wearing the late singer's ring and watch, leaving the Cooke family stunned. The shocks didn't stop there. Just 77 days after Sam was shot dead at the Hacienda Motel, Barbara married Bobby Womack, Sam's close friend and loyal protege. Bobby even wore Sam's old clothes at the wedding. This enraged Sam's father and siblings, who physically confronted Bobby. The music industry all but turned its back on Barbara and Bobby, seeing them as callously betraying a legend's legacy. It gets worse after Sam's death. Barbara took control of most of the financial rights to his music company. The Cooke family claimed she funneled profits to Bobby and herself, leaving Sam's kids with a meager inheritance. But the nightmare didn't end there. In 1970, while living with Bobby, Barbara discovered he was involved with her daughter from a previous relationship, Linda, then around 17, in a rage. She shot Bobby at their home, leaving him lightly injured. That marriage ended instantly, and they never reconciled. In the years that followed, Barbara's image became tied to disputes, suspicion, and scandal. No one could have imagined that the life of Sam Cooke, a symbol of love and music, would be shrouded in betrayal, loss, and devastating deceit. 13. O.J. Simpson, a marriage to Nicole Brown and a chain of tragedies that shook America. O.J. Simpson was once America's top sports icon, a football superstar who successfully crossed over into acting, loved for his charm, talent, and dazzling career. He starred in blockbuster roles, but behind the spotlight, his personal life was a series of disasters, especially his marriage to Nicole Brown, which opened the door to the darkest tragedy of his life. It all started in Beverly Hills in 1977. Nicole Brown, just 18 and working as a waitress at an upscale nightclub, caught O.J.'s eye while he was still married. Within months, he left his first wife to pursue Nicole. 7 years later, they married. It looked like a true love story, but it was a nightmare that lasted nearly a decade. Their life seemed perfect: 2 beautiful kids, a big Brentwood house, glitzy parties, and endless wealth. But inside that lavish mansion, chaos reigned. Arguments, smashing objects, and screaming matches became routine. They fought physically multiple times. Nicole slapped O.J., and O.J. once slammed her against a wall. She even called 911 for help, only to later admit to police she'd hit him too. They didn't love each other anymore. They trapped each other in a hell of hatred, jealousy, and resentment. It didn't stop there. Nicole had an affair with Marcus Allen, O.J.'s close friend and teammate. That betrayal was like pouring gasoline on an already raging fire in O.J., once beloved by America. He became obsessive and unhinged. He stalked her, sent threatening messages, and couldn't let go. Nicole, meanwhile, drowned in shopping sprees, parties, and constant demands for more money. Even after their 1992 divorce, O.J. was sending her $10,000 a month while his fortune drained from lawsuits and debts. Nicole spent money like water bills for designer clothes, jewelry, and parties stacked up. O.J.'s friends said he felt used to his core, yet he couldn't break free, partly because of the kids, partly because of his obsession with a woman he still saw as his. Then, just 2 years after the divorce, Nicole and her new boyfriend, Ron Goldman, were brutally murdered. The scene was horrifying. From star to suspect, from idol to accused killer. The case froze America. Though O.J. was acquitted in the criminal trial, the civil trial crushed him $33.5 million in damages. His reputation was gone. His money was gone. Nicole's death didn't just end a hateful marriage, it sent O.J. from the peak of fame to society's bottom, never to recover. 12. James Brown, a marriage filled with addiction, violence, and an unexpectedly tragic end. James Brown, the king of funk, is an irreplaceable icon in American music history. With timeless hits and a wild performance style, he didn't just change the music industry, he inspired generations of artists. But behind the dazzling stage lights was a messy personal life, with the peak being his bitter marriage to Adrienne Rodriguez. In 1984, James Brown entered his third marriage with Adrienne, a captivating black woman who worked backstage at his shows. They had no kids together, but plenty of trouble. From the start, things were anything but calm. Adrienne dove headfirst into the chaotic celebrity lifestyle alongside Brown's endless parties, drugs, and impulsive outbursts. People said they were like 2 sticks of dynamite living together, just waiting to explode. Just a few years in 1988, they were both arrested for drug possession, dragged out of an unimaginable mess of a situation. Adrienne was heavily addicted, while Brown was sinking into paranoia and delusions. Their fights grew increasingly violent. Furniture flew, screams echoed through the neighborhood. At times, Adrienne called the cops, accusing Brown of beating her, only to later face charges of assault herself. Things spiraled out of control. Adrienne didn't just bring addiction to the relationship, she brought uncontrollable spending. She splashed cash on designer clothes, diamonds, and lavish Hollywood parties, while Brown wrestled with lawsuits, unpaid taxes, and dwindling finances. Adrian kept throwing money at beauty salons and shopping sprees. Hundreds of thousands of dollars vanished yearly, and the man himself started to crumble. By 1995, things hit rock bottom. Brown was arrested again, and Adrian kept dragging him down. His health tanked, his spirit broke. They were like two ghosts haunting an increasingly cold mansion. Then tragedy struck fast and sudden. In 1996, Adrian died after a botched cosmetic surgery. Some say her addiction and psychological stress pushed her body past its limit. Her death closed a chaotic chapter but left lingering questions if not for this marriage. Would James Brown's life have been less tragic in the end? Fans don't just remember him for his music but for the years of debauchery and madness, pushed too far by a love gone wrong. 11. Quincy Jones, a musical genius stripped of fame, fortune, and trust by marriage. Quincy Jones is one of the greatest musical minds of the century, the genius behind icons like Michael Jackson and Frank Sinatra. He didn't just produce legendary music, he opened doors for black artists to conquer the world. But few know he endured a bitter marriage that cost him not just money, but the peace of his life. In 1974, at the peak of his career, Quincy met Peggy Lipton, a white actress, skyrocketing to fame with Mod Squad. They seemed like Hollywood's perfect couple, the king of music and a rising starlet. They married quickly, had two beautiful daughters, Kidada and Rashida Jones, and looked picture perfect. But that marriage was a ticking time bomb, simmering beneath the surface, ready to explode. Peggy didn't just bring media attention, she brought an extravagant lifestyle. Endless parties, splurging on designer clothes, expensive jewelry, beachfront villas all piled onto Quincy, who was pouring money into new music projects. But what broke him wasn't the money, it was the betrayal. In the late 80s, as Jones scrambled to protect his music empire from financial crises, rumors surfaced about Peggy's affair with a co-star. It wasn't just gossip, Quincy's inner circle confirmed it was true. A direct hit to the pride of the music industry's most powerful man. He didn't lash out or argue, he quietly filed for divorce in 1990. But it didn't end there. Peggy walked away with an estimated $5 million, plus ownership of multiple assets. A huge chunk of Quincy's fortune vanished in an instant. Some say he was bled dry in his own home for over 15 years. That marriage left a deep scar on Quincy, the man who once believed love could transcend race, fame, and past. But life isn't as rosy as the ballads he wrote after the divorce. It took years for him to rebuild his career and finances. Yet no one forgets that a woman who seemed perfect cost Quincy more than anything else in his life. 10. Gary Coleman, a child star's tragic fate and a haunting marriage to a notorious wife. Gary Coleman was once one of America's most famous faces. His role in Different Strokes made him a national phenomenon, raking in millions and adored by a generation. But the spotlight faded too soon. After battles with illness, lawsuits, and financial disputes, Gary not only lost his career but fell into a marriage that plunged his life into crisis. In 2006, Gary met Shannon Price on the set of Church Ball while trying to reclaim his lost spark. The white woman, nearly 2 decades younger, seemed to offer a glimmer of hope. They married quickly in 2007, just months after meeting. But as soon as the wedding ended, everything spiraled. Within a year, they divorced, instead of cutting ties. Shannon kept living with Gary as a common-law wife in Utah, clinging to his fading fame though he had little left but debts and declining health. Their relationship was a tragic drama with no end. Daily fights escalated to the point they aired their issues on divorce court in 2008, exposing their chaos. Gary admitted to anger issues, while Shannon complained about caring for him like a child. But it got worse. Neighbors and friends reported Shannon slapping Gary in public. He once sought a restraining order against her while hospitalized, citing cruel treatment. They slept in separate rooms, yet Shannon stayed, openly claiming to love another man while living off Gary. In 2010, Gary fell downstairs and suffered a severe brain hemorrhage, hospitalized in critical condition. He requested life support for at least 2 weeks, but just 2 days later, Shannon signed to pull the plug. In her 911 call, she sounded panicked but refused to stay at the scene because there's blood everywhere. His friends were horrified, many suspecting she let go too quickly. After Gary's death, Shannon didn't stop. She tried to claim his estate with a 2007 handwritten will, despite their divorce. The court rejected it as invalid, confirming her history of abuse and exploitation. Meanwhile, she secretly sold photos of Gary dying in his hospital bed to tabloids, pocketing tens of thousands. Her cruelty shocked Hollywood. The press branded her an opportunist, and the public raged. Gary died broke, with just a few $1,000s left. His once bright image was buried under the shadow of the woman he called his wife. The painful truth: he never escaped that marriage, not even in death. 9. Marvin Gaye. A hellish marriage to the Motown mogul's sister pushed the soul king to rock bottom. Marvin Gaye, the soul icon behind legendary tracks like What's Going On and Let's Get It On, wasn't just a musical genius, but the center of one of music history's most scandalous marriages. Behind the glitz. His marriage dragged him to the depths, costing him his fortune, wrecking his career, shattering his spirit, and ending in a tragic catastrophe. In 1963, Marvin married Anna Gordy, not just a woman nearly 20 years his senior, but the sister of Motown mogul Berry Gordy. It wasn't just a marriage, it was a contract bound by fame, power, and control. At first, everyone thought Marvin hit the jackpot with a wealthy, influential wife. But early on, the pressure tightened. Anna spent Marvin's money like water luxury cars, lavish homes living off his fame as if it were her own. While Marvin churned out hits, Anna called the shots from the sidelines, turning their home life into a silent battlefield. By the late 60s, things hit a breaking point, as Marvin grappled with temptation, loneliness, and his artistic voice stifled at Motown. Anna got involved with another musician. Marvin crumbled, turning to drugs, yet clung to the marriage like a drowning man. They had a son, Marvin Gaye III, but he was actually the biological child of Anna's niece, Denise Gordy, adopted to hide the truth. Things got so twisted no one could tell love from manipulation. In 1977, after 14 years of fighting and enduring, Marvin couldn't hold on. They divorced, but that's when the real nightmare began. Anna played hardball, forcing Marvin to pay over $1 million of fortune, then plus royalties from his hit songs. Broke, he had to write the album Here, My Dear, to settle the debt, pouring his anger, pain, and despair into the music. Post-divorce, Marvin's life was chaos. Finances dried up, drugs took over, and his career tanked. Many say his marriage to Anna sparked the unstoppable downward spiral. When his own father shot him dead in 1984, the world didn't just mourn a talent, they were stunned by what he endured behind the closed doors of a prestigious family. 8. Smokey Robinson, a 27-year marriage nightmare with the Miracles muse. Smokey Robinson, synonymous with Motown's golden era. His velvet voice behind hits like Cruisin' and Tracks of My Tears. As a pillar of the Miracles, he didn't just define music, he shaped a generation's sound, but behind the stage lights was a 27-year marriage long, tangled, and more brutal than any sad ballad. They were Motown's golden couple, Smokey and Claudette Rogers singing together, working together, then marrying in 1959. It seemed like a fairy tale in the entertainment world, but it was a suffocating string of conflicts, affairs, and financial betrayal that dragged on for nearly 3 decades. As Smokey rose to superstardom, he pulled his family into the spotlight. Claudette was there, but over time, she started spending as if the world owed her a lavish life. New cars, designer clothes piling up, endless trips all dumped on Robinson's shoulders. Money vanished, and their bond cracked day by day. By the early 80s, Smokey grew suspicious. He stayed quiet, but whispers from industry friends started swirling. Claudette was rumored to be involved with someone in the business, no names confirmed, but everyone knew. This undercurrent pushed their already fragile marriage into a downward spiral. They kept up appearances for the media, but at home, it was a cold war. Even their 2 kids couldn't save a family that had long rotted from within. In 1986, they divorced. No loud fights, but a quiet asset split cut deep. Claudette walked away with $3 million and a share of the Miracles' royalties, not just money, but the fruit of Robinson's life's work. He stayed silent, but everyone saw him decline afterward. Post-divorce, Smokey kept going, but his wealth wasn't the same. People called it the price of a marriage stretched too long with too many secrets. Fans felt the loss. But industry insiders knew Smokey lived too long in a marriage that looked beautiful but was a hidden trap. Claudette stayed quiet after it all, but with the money and fame she took. She slipped out of the spotlight, leaving Smokey with his musical legacy and a past he couldn't forget. 7. Muhammad Ali. A devastating punch from a marriage that lasted just 17 months. Muhammad Ali, the living legend of boxing, shaking up the ring and history with his fists and beliefs. A heavyweight champion who commanded the world's respect. But few know that behind his glory was a short, messy marriage that left deep scars. It started in 1964 when Ali, fresh off winning the world championship, was at the height of his fame. Amid the cheers of millions, he met Sanjay Roy, a stunning, bold black model. They married in a flash after just months of dating. It seemed like the perfect boost for the champ, but it turned out to be a knockout blow. From the start, things were off. Sanjay clashed with the strict Islamic rules Ali devoutly followed. She refused to change her lifestyle or conform to the rigid demands of Ali and the Nation of Islam. They lived under one roof but in separate worlds. Ali was consumed with training, speeches, and fighting for his ideals. Sanjay, meanwhile, spent freely shopping sprees, parties, trips, racking up sky-high bills, all on Ali's dime. While Ali was away for fights and religious duties, rumors hit. Sanjay was suspected of cheating with a sports figure, no name pinned down, but Ali's friends confirmed it. The story became a stain on their brief marriage, but the real shock came later. In 1966, as Ali faced his darkest days stripped of his title, tangled in legal battles for refusing the draft, and shunned by America, Sanjay filed for divorce. She walked away with a hefty sum, leaving Ali alone, his spirit broken, his title gone, and another scar on his heart. The public barely noticed Sanjay, but to those close to Ali, she was the one who stabbed him in the back when he needed her most. Still, Ali rose again, remarried, kept fighting, and left a dazzling legacy. Sanjay. She faded from the spotlight, but her name remains tied to the darkest chapter of a champion's life. 6. Lionel Richie. A chaotic marriage and violent scenes behind the glitz. Lionel Richie, a global music titan, the king of hits like All Night Long, a legend with a silky voice and magnetic charm. From the Commodores to a soaring solo career, Richie's place in music is untouchable, but beneath the stage lights, his personal life was a dramatic, tense, and chaotic saga. Richie's marriage to Brenda Harvey Richie, his first wife, began in 1975 when they met at Tuskegee University. Brenda, a black woman studying music, and Richie, just starting with the Commodores, seemed like a dream match. They stayed together nearly 2 decades, adopting a daughter, Nicole Richie. But behind closed doors, it was a non-stop battle. The pressure of Richie's skyrocketing solo career cracked their foundation. Fame brought temptations, and Richie wasn't immune. Affairs became the spark that ignited full-blown conflict. Brenda didn't stay quiet. In 1988, Beverly Hills police stepped in after a violent brawl at the apartment of Richie's mistress, Diane Alexander. Brenda was arrested for assault, disorderly conduct, and domestic violence. Major outlets like the Los Angeles Times splashed the story, shattering their public image in a media storm. It didn't end there. After their 1993 divorce, Brenda hit hard, taking an estimated millions in assets and custody of Nicole. Richie lost a fortune while his career was still peaking. Their story was like a chess game gone wrong, with Brenda living a lavish life, spending freely on fashion, travel, and Hollywood parties. Insiders admitted she knew how to milk that fortune like a queen. The fallout was brutal, especially for Richie. The 1988 violence trashed Brenda's image, while Richie struggled with support payments and stalled music projects under financial strain. The public slammed Brenda, though some sympathized, knowing Richie's infidelity. Either way, this marriage remains a stain on Richie's golden career, proof of the dark corners behind the glittering stage, a marriage of violence, betrayal, money, and an inevitable collapse. 5. Miles Davis, a stormy marriage to Cicely Tyson and brutal secrets behind the jazz spotlight. Miles Davis, the jazz legend whose innovative sound captivated millions worldwide. from groundbreaking music to a larger-than-life persona. He wasn't just an icon, he embodied relentless reinvention. But few know his personal life was a string of pain and fractures, especially his marriage to actress Cicely Tyson, a relationship riddled with conflict and tragedy. They married in 1981, meeting through art world events, seeming like a power couple among creatives. But reality was far messier. Cicely Tyson, despite her fame and influence, lived a lifestyle clashing with Miles, who was battling long-term addiction. Tensions grew, not just from lifestyle differences but from secrets simmering beneath. Tyson's affair with a Hollywood director in the 80s, revealed by Davis's friends in biographies, further cracked an already fragile bond. Their life together became an endless war, though childless. The pressures of their careers, lifestyles, and uncontrollable temptations locked them in a stalemate. In 1988, their divorce left lasting marks. Tyson walked away with an estimated $2 million, a significant hit to Davis's finances as he faced declining health and money troubles. Hundreds of thousands more went to Tyson's lavish spending on fashion, travel, and art sponsorships, expenditures many in the art world called excessive, impacting Davis's bottom line. Oddly, despite public anger over Tyson's affair and asset grab, she earned some credit for helping Davis beat addiction. She guided him through his darkest days, softening some criticism, but the cost was deep emotional wounds. The 1988 divorce hit Davis hard, a man once atop the jazz world, now grappling with loneliness and loss in his final years. 4. Hank Aaron, a broken marriage, infidelity scandals, and drained finances amid baseball history. Hank Aaron, the irreplaceable baseball legend who broke Babe Ruth's home run record, is an immortal icon of American sports. His decades-long career put him at the pinnacle of glory, but behind the stadium lights was a personal life drowning in turmoil, especially his nearly two-decade marriage to Barbara Lucas, a shocking tale of upheaval and conflict. Barbara Lucas, Hank Aaron's first wife, entered his life early in his career when they met in Jacksonville. Their marriage was once seen as the model American family. They had 4 kids and stood together for 18 years. But behind the happy facade were explosive secrets. By the late 60s, as Hank faced his toughest career moment, racial threats while chasing Babe Ruth's record, Barbara's loyalty faltered. Close friends revealed she had an affair with someone in their local community, a blow that deeply wounded Hank's trust and spirit. Beyond that, Barbara was accused of reckless spending, putting Hank under serious financial strain. Big purchases on high-end fashion and lavish homes, funded by Hank's massive earnings, made their family life tense on both emotional and financial fronts. Things peaked in 1971 when Barbara left Hank just as he faced his greatest career challenge, with racial threats and pressure keeping him sleepless. The divorce cost Hank a valuable chunk of his wealth and left deep emotional scars. The public barely noticed Barbara, but those in sports and Hank's circle relentlessly criticized her for betraying and abandoning a legend at his most critical moment. They said she turned her back when he needed her most. Despite the pain and loss, Hank Aaron stood tall. He overcame the storm, broke the home run record in 1974, and cemented his unbeatable legacy in baseball. But the cost of that success was sleepless nights, lonely days, and a deep sense of betrayal. Everyone knows Hank Aaron's triumphs on the field, but few understand the steep price he paid in his own home. 3. Al Green, a soul legend drowned in a mercenary marriage. Al Green, the soul icon behind hits like Let's Stay Together, was the brightest star of the 70s. Blockbuster albums, millions of passionate fans worldwide. But his personal life was a mess, especially his marriage to Shirley Kiles, which changed his life and career forever. In 1977, at the peak of his fame, Al married Shirley Kiles, a black woman he'd known since the early 70s. Their relationship began as Al poured his heart into songs that moved millions. But this marriage was no fairy tale. It was a roller coaster driven by money. Shirley divorced Al in 1983 as he shifted to gospel music, a major career pivot. At the time, Al was grappling with financial struggles, declining sales, and mounting lawsuit costs. Yet Shirley walked away, leaving Al in a crisis of both spirit and wallet. The divorce was a heavy blow, with a chunk of his wealth gone. Shirley got $432,800 in alimony and child support, a hefty sum that cut deep into Al's finances. His friend Willie Mitchell and others saw it as a financial gut punch. Still, Al's gospel career later soared, opening a new chapter in his musical journey. 2. Dennis Rodman, a chaotic, violent, and reckless marriage with Carmen Electra. Dennis Rodman, the basketball legend with wild rebounds and unmatched charisma, dominated the NBA courts, famous for both sports and his larger-than-life persona. Rodman's personal life was just as loud, especially his lightning-fast marriage to actress Carmen Electra. It started in 1998 when Dennis and Carmen met at a Los Angeles party. Sparks flew, and they married after just months of dating. But behind the lavish parties and glitzy lights was a crumbling life of arguments and scandals. Their marriage lasted a mere 6 months, with no kids born from it. Instead, it was a storm of public fights that left everyone exhausted. The biggest disaster hit in their wedding year when police arrested both at a Newport Beach hotel after a drunken shouting match. Reports confirmed both Rodman and Carmen got physical. She was accused of scratching and shoving him. A stark contrast to her sultry image, fueled by alcohol and impulsiveness. The incident exploded in the media, with ESPN tracking every detail. Beyond the violence, money was a dark spot. Carmen spent lavishly designer clothes, sparkling jewelry, luxe trips, bills worth hundreds of thousands piled onto Rodman, who was already facing financial strain from shrinking NBA contracts. Her spending became a burden, pushing him deeper into debt and stress. In 1999, the chaos led to a divorce that hit like a hurricane. Rodman paid a hefty settlement to Carmen, the price of a troubled, scandalous marriage. Their violence, fights, and reckless spending became endless fodder for sports and entertainment media. They were seen as proof of the wild, careless lives of sports and showbiz stars. 1. Eddie Murphy, a 13-year marriage full of betrayal and shattered dreams. Eddie Murphy, Hollywood's comedy king, a megastar with hits like Beverly Hills Cop and Coming to America, is a titan of entertainment. His career soared, captivating millions, but his personal life was anything but smooth. It began at a 1988 NAACP event when Eddie met Nicole, a black woman who seemed like a bright spot in his life. They married in 1993, forming a showbiz power couple with 5 kids. They looked unbreakable, but reality was far different. Eddie's packed filming schedule kept him away, and Nicole seized the chance to stray with a Hollywood producer. By 2005, tabloids screamed about it, and industry friends spilled the tea. The perfect family image shattered. The 2006 divorce was a bitter but predictable end. Nicole walked away with a staggering $15 million, plus nearly $50,000 a month in support. It was a brutal hit to Eddie's finances, especially as his career hit bumps with flops like Pluto Nash. Struggling, Eddie threw himself into work to rebuild his fame and fortune, while Nicole lived large. What stunned everyone was Nicole's lavish spending post-divorce. Chanel, Gucci, luxury properties, endless international trips. Eddie's money flowed into her hands. Tabloids slammed her excessive extravagance. Eddie's story isn't just a celebrity divorce, it's proof of the brutal underside of glitz. A family broken, wealth drained, fame shaken, all weaving a modern tragedy. Eddie Murphy, once at the top, still fights to reclaim what he lost, haunted by a marriage of betrayal and excess. So, what do you think of these stormy marriages? Can fame and fortune ever shield anyone from personal wounds? Drop your thoughts below. Share the story that hit you hardest, or weigh in on the world behind the celebrity spotlight. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos uncovering shocking secrets like these.